It's great to get the chance to talk to one of my teammates, Senior Manager Melanie Stephenson in our life sciences sector. She's a strategy and operations leader. And Melanie, let's start. Could you walk me through your background specifically? How'd you get into life sciences consulting, and what's your favorite thing about working within this dynamic sector?
Hi, Dan. Good morning. I've been in life sciences consulting for about 18 years now. The majority of my experience has been focused in patient safety. Growing up, I was always interested in science and healthcare and knew I wanted to explore opportunities in the life sciences industry. My mom is a doctor, as are many of my aunts and uncles, so I was surrounded at a young age, and I studied biology in college. I pursued a Master of Public Health and then immediately started in life sciences consulting. And I would say my love of the industry is driven by two key areas that energize me. One is making an impact on the global patient community, and two, doing it in a way that is innovative and involves solving complex problems. And I've personally been fortunate enough to serve dozens of life sciences companies over the years, but this particular engagement with Moderna and the opportunity to work with Jane and the broader Moderna team has been really impactful, as it's hard to argue that anything in today's world is more meaningful than the science and safety of the COVID-19 vaccine. So Moderna's collaborative culture and passion for innovation, coupled with Deloitte's innovative technology, has really made this Moderna project a perfect fit for me and for Deloitte.
Love it. So you said you have 18 years of life sciences consulting experience. So you talked a little bit about it in your prior answer, but from this experience, from your expertise, what stands out the most in Moderna, about Moderna, and how did that draw you to want to work with them from the outset?
Yeah, so what drew me to Moderna is really twofold. One, key aspects of their culture and values, including their commitment to patient safety and focus on innovation and speed to delivery. And two, the most notable is really the people. So the Moderna team lives these values every day, working with Jane and people like Suzanne Tracy, who are so passionate about the work they do every day, really sets the foundation for strong collaboration and open communication. And while we move very fast sometimes, it does keep it interesting, and it makes me excited about what we can accomplish in the future.
Love it. So let's go backwards to sort of the outset of this work and on this modern problem. And we talk a lot about the process of knitting together modern teams to take on modern problems. As you think about the skill sets and the way you had to bring this team together, what differed from the way you might have thought about building teams and getting ready to start projects in the future? Any elements that made this team that you knitted together particularly specialized for the situation Moderna was facing?
Yeah, so one element that we Deloitte are most focused on is bringing the highest quality solution to Moderna. And the key to that is building the right team with the right skill sets. And at Moderna, we're pulling, I would say, Deloitte resources from about 10 different parts of the organization and across the globe. But just to give some examples, we have our product development team comprised of developers and data scientists who are actively building Elevate Safety and the underlying algorithms. We have a team dedicated to building an automated translation solution, which is driving tremendous efficiencies and cost savings. And of course, we have a team of safety subject matter advisors who provide much needed input and guidance throughout all phases of the program. So from my perspective, the Deloitte team has really integrated seamlessly with the Moderna team, which is a testament to the collaborative nature of this engagement and really our one team mindset.
Well, I think that one team mindset with diverse team members is one of the key ingredients to all modern teams. And I think it came to life at Moderna in such a cool way. And you have not only expertise that's been in the industry for a long time, expertise that frankly has been at Moderna for a long time, but you're also infusing new thinking from new leaders like Jane, who are newer to Moderna. And to your point, Melanie, you get maybe the best software engineers in the world who've never worked in life sciences or at Moderna ever. And their outside thinking and their outside perspective actually helps make sure that the solutions are new and innovative and aren't constrained by the way things have always been done. All right, Melanie. So out of all the amazing things that Moderna's accomplished, and amazing might not even do justice given the moment, what's one aspect of this specific journey, this modern team, that you would translate in the future to other clients, to other challenges as you continue your consulting journey? Is there something that stands out to you the most and makes you say, hey, others in the world should consider this?
Yeah, and I think to continue with the innovation and speed concept or speed theme, I believe the time frame from the moment Moderna contacted Deloitte about their automation vision back in early 2021 to the go live of Elevate Safety in December 2021 was about 8 months. Half of that contracting, half of that implementation. And I would say most clients measure those activities in years. So I would say Moderna and frankly, Jane's ability to make decisions quickly, and as she says, pivot fearlessly, has really translated to tangible value in a culture of continuous improvement. So I would encourage other organizations that are looking to transform their business to make quick decisions, not be afraid to adjust along the way, and take risks to reach what may seem like lofty goals. To me, it's really a refreshing approach compared to what I've experienced in the past, and I've seen it work at Moderna firsthand, where they've realized unparalleled results over the past year. And there's really much more to come. And so ultimately, Moderna has proven high impact and high quality results are achievable in an accelerated time frame.
Love it. Modern teams pivot fearlessly.
Yeah, that's all Jane.
There is no doubt. And with me today is Jane Carroll, the Vice President of Pharmacovigilance Operations at Moderna. Jane, so fun to have you, and look forward to talking to you about modern teams taking on modern problems, and certainly no place over the last few years where modern problems have been more important to the world than at Moderna and in the life sciences sector.
Great. I'm thrilled to be here too, Dan. Thanks so much for inviting me.
All right. So for this series with Wired, we're discussing modern new age problems that businesses and governments and organizations are experiencing, and the need for the solutions to be just as modern and innovative to match those challenges. Let's start with Moderna's quote unquote modern problem. What was the overarching modern business problem that Moderna was facing? And how did you realize that you needed to implement something different to address it?
Moderna is so amazing, totally unbiased, of course. This clinical stage company wanted to help, and we did big time. The modern problem, Dan, for vaccine manufacturers was adverse event volumes, period. I don't know if you remember when you got vaccinated, you likely got educated about a government program called vSafe. This was a program the CDC had set up for health check-ins following COVID vaccinations. Actually, right before I started working at Moderna, I was volunteering at a vaccination clinic in my town. It was an incredible experience that I will never forget. We can talk about that another time if you want. I remember educating everyone about vSafe and thinking, oh my God, adverse event volumes must be insane. And in fact, FDA alone was experiencing 10 times their normal volume. So volumes, that was the problem. And getting these high volumes into the safety database quickly in a high quality way was the modern problem. Industry had been dipping our toes in AI for several years, and at Moderna, we knew we needed to be bold in our operating model.
Moderna brought in a new leader at this incredibly important time because you can challenge the status quo. I do know from people I know at Moderna and my Deloitte teammates who work there, that there's a phrase called the Moderna mindset that I know applies to how employees operate differently. Could you share a little bit more about what you've learned about the Moderna mindset and how it applied specifically to this moment?
The Moderna mindset. So you have values, and the values, are like the way that we operate. We're going to be bold. We're going to be collaborative, but the Moderna mindset is the how. How do you do that? And so I remember that the day the mindsets were revealed, or were shared with the senior leadership cohort, and how it made me feel was so unapologetic for having good ideas, pushing them through, being the woman that I wanted to be in business, to be honest with you.
I had a meeting with our former chief medical officer within the first month of starting. We had a great conversation.
He said, Jane, remember that it's so good that you have all this experience, but remember that you can totally do it different here. At every company and in every organization, they talk about agile thinking or agile digital methodology, but you can actually do it here. Break apart the problem different, Jane. You've got a problem. You've got a something. Break it apart different. Rethink your problem. And there is where you're going to find the innovative solutions. And again, this unapologetic, think it different because we can do it different here. That's really exciting. That's what, I guess that's probably what I love about Moderna. So now on to the mindsets. So the problem, or to Melanie's point, what she was saying earlier, the way that industry has always thought about database implementation is sort of all or nothing. Okay, let's change out one database or one version of a database for another version. And that includes data migration, every entry point. And that takes 18 months to 24 months. And by the time you've implemented, you're behind. You're behind again because that's the speed of AI. And so, one of our mindsets is about questioning convention. So just because that's always the way that industry has done it, can we do it different? Can we break apart the problem different? What we wanted to do, the problem that we wanted to solve at Moderna, was to get the adverse events into the system, maximally data entered, so that we could assess it and report it to the health authorities. So then in comes Deloitte with this case intake tool and the AI algorithms and the proven implementation at another pharmaceutical company with the quality and the scalability and the speed that we wanted to see in case processing. So, foundationally, it was everything that we want to be in our digital journey at Moderna. And what we did, and so what we decided to do was take 75% of our volume that we receive in structured data sources and put that through Elevate Safety. And we've seen incredible quality and incredible speed reduction of less than 30 minutes for case processing, using Elevate Safety, which is really where we want it to be. And then, let's do it in 4 months. So that sort of push past possible of how do we break up the implementation and look at it in different ways and try to get creative about all of the steps that you usually have. That Melanie knows them better than I do, but the steps of building and testing and testing and testing, so that you can feel you feel certain when you're sort of implementing it. So I think those are a couple of the mindsets.
I love it. So Jane, the other thing, at least a quote that's been attributed to you that I think could be a tagline for modern teams solving modern problems is pivot fearlessly. And Moderna really challenged the status quo in the way it processed adverse events. And frankly, the way Moderna's thought about patient safety overall. How or why does pivot fearlessly matter so much when you're trying to tackle new problems in new ways?
Pivot fearlessly is a really interesting mindset because actually I'm okay pivoting, as I learn new information, changing course. But the fearlessly is the really hard part because there are times that I'm pivoting and I'm scared. I'm like, are people going to be able to adapt and adjust to this? So the fearlessly is the interesting part of this particular mindset because it leaves open for don't fear that something won't work. And, just make sure that your sort of backup plan is in place. So I would say, Dan, personally, I like the fearlessly part of it because I often don't feel fearless. And it reminds me that I can. Extremely
well said, Jane. And we're gonna we're going to embrace your model of fearless pivoting as we think about the way we approach other challenges. Perhaps not been a more modern challenge or modern problem than what the world faced in tackling the pandemic. Never before seen challenges requiring never before seen solutions. And that requires modern leadership and modern teams. And it's been so fun to spend time with Jane Carroll of Moderna and Melanie Stephenson of Deloitte, who together formed an incredible modern team that pivoted fearlessly into the future to build solutions that have impacted the lives of hundreds of millions of people worldwide.